Welcome to the Brave Healing Podcast. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And here to help me with that today are three of our author experts of one of the upcoming books, Wholehearted Wonder Women 50 Plus, Courage, Confidence, and Creativity at Any Age. Please help me welcome Dr. Zora, Karen Kilgore, and Daniela Caine to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Yay.
Welcome. Hey.
I'm very excited to have you guys here. Can't wait to have this conversation. So, listeners, Dr. Zora's mission is to help bridge the deep separations we have created and guide people of all ages toward self-love and self-care, connecting with earth and spirit and living consciously and authentically. Karen Kilgore is the inspiration behind Quantum Shift Media, where they get gifted authors and entrepreneurs launched so they can make an impact on the world. And Daniela Caine is the CEO of Koryphae, a soon-to-be launched conscious clothing line with the purpose to empower women and girls worldwide. And of course, you guys later, please just drop down into the show notes because you're going to find their websites and you can take it a step further and explore and see what these amazing women are up to. So before we start chatting, I wanted to make sure to say a big thank you to Lulu Trevina, the lead author of this amazing project. And without her, we wouldn't be here. She had a beautiful vision of bringing 50 plus women together to share the wisdom and share the tools and all of the goodness. And so we thank you, Lulu. And to you guys, amazing, incredible, badass authors, thank you for saying yes and for being here and just for being willing to share the authentic stories and step up in that way to really trailblaze that. I respect and admire that so much in all of you. You are really, really amazing women. And I can't wait to share your story more. So speaking of that, Dr. Zora, let's start with you. Tell me about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Thank you, Laura. And speaking for everybody, thanks for making this possible. You worked your butt off to support us in doing this. And what fun it's been to even just the choice of what to do the chapter on was an interesting process. So I'm chapter 12, and the title of mine is The Courage to Jump. I always forget what I said. Dare to dream, commit to your life, and take inspired action. And that really came from something I'm focusing on in my life now, and certainly have in the past. But this came at such a good time because writing the chapter kept reinforcing the things that I need to do in my life as well. The story I chose, I call my Squirrel Story, which I won't go in now because you'll read it in the book. But it was really about so much going on in my life and things that happened where you get to a point where there's decisions to make. Your life's at a certain point at a time that you have no reference, right? Nothing has ever happened. This is going to be the first time you ever jump into something without a reference point. And that's the scariest times. It's like, well, it's a little like this, and I did that, this, like, I have no idea. So that's where dare to dream that big dream. What is possible here that maybe you haven't even thought of yet? And then commit to your life, committing to myself and who I want to be at this point in my life. And then taking inspired action. There's a time you just have to jump. And I love that Indiana Jones thing, is leap of faith. The cavern is really deep, and he just finally puts his foot out, and they change the camera angle, and it holds him. My squirrel, which I won't tell you, I shouldn't say that because it'll wreck the surprise in it. But that story is one time when I really just had to let go and was really afraid. And then some things occurred that realized I'm going to be fine, and I'm totally supported by life. So that's basically, and then of course with each chapter there's a tool there that do you want us to talk about that at all, or maybe a little bit later?
That would be great.
Yeah, just So the tool basically in just a word or two takes you in an embodiment process where before you leap into something, to just do that when you're thinking in your head and you're all worried and okay, I'll just do it. That's not necessarily a great state to be in. So for me, I find when I connect everything from top to bottom, like start with the worry in your head or everything you keep thinking about or try to figure out, that becomes like a tyrant at times. And only will that make sense when it's connected to your heart. And that's where your heart guides you. And then when you bring it down into the brain and the belly, where we are actually, it's called the second brain now, where your gut instincts are there and you can count on them. So now you're connecting all of that. So now the things you're thinking are being filtered through the heart, through the gut and your intuition. And then the legs that take you and ground you to the earth, where there's a steadiness, where there's an energetic and a real support there. And as you connect that way, it won't be this kind of crazy, okay, I'll just do it. It's like, what feels right? What feels right to me? And keep gauging it through your heart, through your body. And as we learn to do that, because it's always a practice and you start to get good at it because you start to understand those subtle messages that you're getting, that then when you decide to take a step, maybe that you've never done before and you really don't even know what the outcome is going to be, you get to a point that you just go. It's like, and that's what the squirrel in my story is going to give you some insights on. So again, I just find that at this point in my life and in the world at large, the way we make our choices is more important than ever. And every one of us really, really matters in how we're living our lives and what we're bringing to first ourselves. And then since we're all connected and we are not separate, it makes a difference to everyone else.
Yes, thank you. I love what you said about embodiment and body awareness and embodiment. That's the language of the soul that you're learning when you connect in like that. And it's so, so important. I always say, well, it would be so nice if I had learned that so much younger, but divine timing for everything.
Right.
But I feel like learning that language now or later in my life, it was such a gift from the moment I realized I could have whatever clarity I wanted about leaping, about all of that stuff. And by the way, I loved the squirrel in her story, you guys. You're going to love this piece of Dr. Zora's story. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Karen, talk to me about your beautiful chapter.
I wrote chapter 3 and it's called Life in the Sweet Spot, 5 Ways to Let the Goodness Come. And yes, Dr. Zora, it was exactly very much about embodiment and getting in touch with what's inside me, the energy that was in me. And so very much on point. It's amazing how the book has so much cohesion and synergy through it with all the stories. It's really beautiful. My chapter was about literally finding the sweet spot. I talked about golf, when you hit a golf ball and you have the exact spot on it and you can just hear it soar. And in tennis, when you're hitting a tennis ball and you feel that one spot, and it also is in our lives, in our every single day. When you get in touch with that, it starts from a meditative state, really getting to know what energy is inside you. And when I figured that out, I was, as Laura just said, way older than I wished I was when I figured it out. But man, once you hit it, it's powerful. And that has been carrying me for quite a while. And finding that sweet spot in my everyday has been really totally transforming my business, my relationships, my family. It's been amazing. So one of the tools that I talk about in it is what I call let the goodness come. And so I do this every single day. I get a drop of frankincense and I put it on the top of my head and I hold my hands out and I'll say, let the goodness come. And I just get into a position of receiving. And I'm like, whoo, whoo, I can feel it. I can just feel it coming. And I do that. My husband does that every single day. And it's an act of putting yourself in a place for the divine interventions of the universe to come to you and come through me. So it's come to me and come through me. So that's been something I do every single day. I never miss it. In fact, if I leave and I haven't done it, I'll go back in and I'll get my frankincense out. So that's been a fun thing. Yeah, and also one is just about pleasure. Finding the sweet spot in pleasure, like you're working. Would a cup of tea make you happy and bring just a little more sweetness to what you're doing? Or would changing putting your feet up while you're doing something, or open the window, or whatever it is, tiny little micro movements of sweet spots that make it just so much better, So that's what I wrote about.
I love thinking about the sweet spot. So, you use the tennis and the golf examples, and I'm feeling the physical body in the sweet spot of having all of the alignment, strength, flexibility, practice, all the things, right? But you're now making me pull that into daily moments where mind, body, soul, more than just physical body is in it. And I love that. What else do you want to say about that?
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about, I don't know how many play golf, but when you're ready to swing and you take a breath and you pull all that energy in and you put it into that sweet spot on the club, it's very much energetic, spiritual, body awareness. It's all together. It's all of it together. And you could be on a swinging and feel the same thing. You could be doing an art project with your kids. It's all about awareness, body awareness. And yeah, there's a lot of sweetness out there. A lot of sweetness. Let's bring it in.
It's a beautiful start to your day. Let the goodness come. What a simple way, to set an intention. I'm going to start doing it. And you're going to laugh at me, but for weeks I've been staring at my frankincense, thinking to myself, I have no idea how to use this. So thank you.
Well, one thing I learned about frankincense is that it penetrates the blood-brain barrier. So that's one reason I use it. And just a drop on top of my head, because it actually helps keep you from, it helps cover all the holes in your brain. It's a very powerful oil. So that's why I'm using it.
Thank you.
It's great. So
thank you for the tip. Yes. Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, Karen. Daniela, talk to me about your amazing chapter.
Well, it's just so amazing how it all fits together. And it's really, there's so many synergies. And I'm going to do the frankincense too, because I've got plenty of them.
Yeah, good.
So I wrote chapter 5, A Conscious Closet, using fashion as a vehicle for empowerment. And it's a very personal story, actually. It's my own story from what I thought was, over the last 3 years, what I thought a high in my life, to breaking down to my very low, and finding and then all of a sudden being catapulted into a total high in a meditative state, to like the sense of awakening. And it's kind of this journey of being like always so dispersed in my head and with my thoughts, and like my attention always outwards and to everything else that was around, and then coming like back home and learning how to navigate, and how to navigate from that sweet spot, from that spot where your being and your soul, they're kind of working in concert again. And what I loved about the book title, and I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing, is the Wonder Women, because it was really a group of wonderful women in their presence, being able to speak out loud of what was the seed within me, the thing that I always wanted to bring to life, but never thought I'd be good enough or that I had anything to say, and just them receiving me. And so the book is about how I arrive at that point and how I arrive at Koryphae and what came about. And my tool is actually, because I'm a fashion designer in my background, and my tool is to use your closet to get clues about some of your limiting beliefs, where they're made so visible. So there's a meditation with that, and there's like a visioning exercise with that.
I loved that tool. It made me think so much about, well, my closet. And then of course I started to think about what I wanted to pull out of my closet at that point. But I've been a good declutterer. I've been really good at making that a place that's not cluttered. But you took the thought process for me to another level. And I loved that piece. Will you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we in the apparel industry, we have there's a big problem, right? We're producing annually 32 billion pieces of clothing, and 63% of them are never worn and thrown away. That's a huge amount. So the problem, yes, you can blame the industry, but there's something lacking within us. There's something that drives us to buy into this. And yes, it's this not good enough and trying to fix something or numb something or make us feel better or reward ourselves. And we're not very connected to our own needs, and we're running away from our emotions and patch that up with clothes. And so there are so many limiting beliefs that are underlying our decisions. And I believe that when we get to a point where we make our decisions from a place of, I make that decision because it's better for me, because I've got the knowledge, and I don't buy into the buy and purge cycle anymore. That's how we can make change, not through shaming and blaming, but through like observation and changing something within us. So that's what I want to ignite.
Yes, and you are going to do it in this chapter. It made me think about things in terms of my clothing that I had never thought about before. And I'm 53, and I thought, whoa, really? This is the first time someone's telling me about this? Like, so that's, and I love, don't y'all love that Lulu had us call our ages out? Like, I've never really worried about it. I've never, been shy about saying how old I was, mostly because I feel 18 and constantly feel 18, no matter how old I am. But I love that about her. It's like, yeah, we're going to put our age on the page, and put it out there. But thank you, I guess was my point, Daniela, for the awareness. And essentially, you're all sharing awareness tools. So Daniela, I'm actually going to stick with you for this next question, and I'm going to come around to all of you for it. Without awareness, we don't get a choice. It's a foundational thing. Awareness is everything. Awareness is healing. Awareness is everything we want, right? Comes from this. So talk to me about your personal journey, Daniela. How has awareness played a part for you?
Man,
it's a big
awareness.
question.
It's a huge question. For me, awareness, and then just accepting where I am or where I was, and that is the precursor to making a conscious choice. Awareness for me, I've become aware of I've become aware how awesome I am, and how awesome everybody is, and how empowered we can be. And it was a journey. It was a intense meditative journey. that started with my daughter getting sick and I'm having to leave work, and that shattered the scaffolding of my ego. I mean, I wasn't a good mom. I failed. And so, like, where was my value? And learning from that space, it was like, it was I was a blank slate. And in that blank slate, I was given this gift that I had value, even, if I'm reduced to like non-functioning human in society. And so that awareness, and then just embracing like everything that led me to this point, and accepting that this was it, and then just this curiosity of how can we live different? How can I live differently? So awareness is everything. It is the basis for change. It's the basis for choice. We think we live in this world of choices, and it's not a choice. That's the interesting thing.
It's a big thing, and you're talking about it exactly how I feel about it constantly. It's such a big thing. You made me think about, in terms of your story, you mentioned non-functioning human, right? And that scaffolding of your ego being shattered. I mean, essentially, awareness can be a journey that leads back to worthiness. And it's such a big thing. We could talk about this one all day long. I know. But so I'm going to ask Karen the same question. Let's see what she wants to add to this. Karen, talk to me about your personal journey with awareness. How did that play out for you?
Yeah, it was huge for me, because I lived my whole life unaware of myself at all. I had no idea how I felt. I was always doing for somebody else. Everybody else's needs and wants and desires would be what motivated me. I had no idea what I really wanted. And then one day, when I actually got in touch with the energy, and when I was aware of the energy in me, it absolutely shifted it rocked me, absolutely rocked me. And then I started seeing it in everybody else. Everybody's got it. They just don't know it. Everybody's got it. And so light it up. Let's get it going.
Yes.
So becoming aware. And it wasn't until meditation for me, it came in witness meditation, when I was being witnessed, and something about being seen that really ignites it in a really powerful way, more than just a personal, private experience. Something about someone seeing you, really seeing you, that really ignites it. So yes, awareness is absolutely everything, Daniela. So everything. It really is. And it's not about the past. It's not about the future. It's like right this second. So it's foundational.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Dr. Zora, what do you want to add about this awareness journey that you have been on?
Yeah, well, I'd love, no mistake, the three of us are here together. Same thing, which is such a common story anyway. And I wonder sometimes, what is it about our society that brings people into the world, and all the messages, so many are, you're not okay. Whether it's covering up with clothes, doing other things, and we spend the rest of our lifetime trying to, like, I'm really okay. I always was, So for me, the way I was raised, like literally from conception on, I literally was like in my teens, and I remember in a conversation with somebody, like I would just say, I don't know, where it struck me that I actually was allowed to have an opinion. And I'm like, well, I think back and think I just did all the things I thought I should do, who I should be, what I should do to make everyone else happy. And I had no sense of really myself at all. Even though I was doing lots of things. And I remember sitting there one day going, like, I do these things, And I'm lucky I could do them, whatever I kind of put my mind to. But I thought, well, do I really enjoy it? I'm like, I don't know. Do I not enjoy it? I don't know. So like, what am I doing? And then another day, sitting there, I remember being outside just staring. I think it was late high school. And the word that when I think about it, I just felt hollow. So from that point on in my early 20s, I kept seeking out things that meant something to me, what I cared about. And, that journey all, till now, one of the things I've done in my practice with clients is a technique called Neuroemotional Technique, which is a way to find all those old beliefs that have been building up and what run our life. Like you said, Daniela, just like it's what 5% is really our real decisions. And you too, Karen, that when we get more embodied, when we get more quiet, when we get more in tune, we can be present with much less of that chatter that usually runs us. So for me, I found things that have helped me a lot to peel a lot of that off, kind of dissolve it. And for me also, until we honor those old things that happened to us, the old emotions that might be still festering your body and you don't even know it. Once you can see that, honor it, it dissipates. And then there's huge wisdom that comes from it. And it's like, it's like a freedom and a relief and a like, who knew, and you really did know all the time. There's some movie that says that. Maybe that's Wizard. It was with you all the time. So that was really, my journey has been lots of things. And I think what happens is certain big challenges happen that kind of knocks you down. And you almost have to find something else within you to go on. I feel like even at this point in writing this chapter and even this conversation, the awareness that it's so much easier for me to be myself now and bring what I feel like I've been groomed to do for myself and to help humanity. I've been groomed for it my whole life. So I don't regret anything in the past. And when when we're ready to know, we know. So there's no, like, I should have known, or, none of the shoulds. I had it posted on my closet one time that was there for years. It said, I will not should on myself. And that still applies.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The shoulding came up in several interviews, by the way, not just this one. It seems to be
way too common.
Right? I know.
May I add something to that?
Sure.
It's like the awareness even and being with those negative emotions, that when we're angry or when we're sad or where we're jealous, or all of these that are bad emotions, that we allow ourselves to be with those bad emotions, being aware of them, acknowledging them, not judging us for them. And then what happens when we acknowledge it, they just fizzle out and then go away. And you don't have to just push it away. We like tennis, right? We're trying to just, it comes and then we're trying to lop it away, and it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back, and it's gonna come back faster. So it's, just be in the awareness and just be with that emotion when it happens.
Yeah, I agree that those emotions are gifts to you if you look at them. They're not just bad. They might feel like crap, right?
Yeah.
But they're telling you something. And again, the more you stuff it, the more it's going to come up again. So, and when you're ready, you'll see it. And when you're ready, you'll feel it. Sometimes it's not safe to feel, or you don't have time to feel, or you just have to keep going. There's so many reasons, but totally, that's part of allowing, that's part of awareness. Honoring all of that. It's made us who we are, really. Yeah.
I'll tell you guys, if you want to have a game-changing, life-changing moment, get into a conversation with the women in this book. Because you're going to be in a conversation about things that actually matter, things that if you practice them and create a discipline out of that practice of awareness, anything can happen. Anything is possible. Karen, I'm going to start with you on this next question. What's the best thing about being 50 plus?
Oh gosh, 50 plus is awesome. You don't have to be somebody that everybody thinks you are. You can be whoever God created you to be in all your glory. You don't have to get permission or, nobody has to give you authority to be who you just have it. You are it. You write it. You get to write it. And that is just the coolest thing. And you don't have to, you learn from all the things. I wouldn't want to repeat any of them. I wouldn't want to go back to any of my younger years, because all of that has accumulated into a absolutely love for myself, like an appreciation for all the things that have been instilled in me, all the things that I've learned, the mistakes that I've, falling forward in the mistakes that I've made, learning from them. And all of it is just like valuable, gem-like. Being over 50 is enormously valuable, hugely. It's a gift. Thank you for it.
I love listening to you guys answer this question. Dr. Zora, what's the best thing about being 50 plus?
Similar, I think, I feel more comfortable in my own skin than I ever have. I feel more confident than I ever have. I think I'm willing to take more chances. And at my age, because in the book, you'll see I'm 65. I'm at a point that I'm freer than I've ever been, interestingly enough. I have two amazing sons. They're off doing their own thing and doing well. I was divorced 15 years ago, and my parents are gone, my sister's gone. I'm like, I almost own nothing but my car. And I can't wait, Daniela, to talk about the closet thing, because I'm going through, everything's changing for me. Like this freedom, where so much less responsibility than I've had. I look back at my life sometimes and think, how in the world did I do all that and juggle all that? And now it's like, oh, okay. I still feel really busy doing other things. But being this age right now allows me to venture out into more writing, more teaching, more workshops, dramatically changing my business. I'm even in the midst of changing my name. So it's like, and people are like, well, why would you do that? And it's like, well, why not? Because I think I can. Well, I can. And I kind of think that that's fun. And I was never, while I've done a whole lot of neat things in my life, I was never overly impulsive to make drastic changes like that, right? So it's kind of a funny feeling, but it's kind of a neat feeling that I'll change my name because I feel like it. So that's weird. How times before this, that's not something I would have done just because I just felt like it for no good reason other than that. So it's a neat time, and I feel like a lot is opening for me now. Yes. With the changes. I'm ready to jump, into, I don't know.
It's
okay. And so it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Daniela, how about you? Best part about being 50 plus?
Yeah, so I have to break it. I am like 50 minus, and I'm so glad. So it's my 49th birthday. Will be this in June, end of June. And I'm just so thrilled to join this club. I'm really excited. But what it really is, it's like being more in free, like having more freedom, and less responsibility, and feeling expansion, and feeling that you can just let go of that ego, like after 50. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes, y'all are making me realize that the more I practice knowing myself, learning that language of the soul, intuition, it was clarity that was my sweet spot, speaking of sweet spots. And being 50 plus, I just feel like there's more and more, and I do not have to look outside myself for my clarity for basically any decision. If I am, I'm looking to people I love and trust only. And that's only when I decide to look outside of myself, right? And it's just become a much easier process that feels so much more empowering to me. Gotta love the clarity, right? Oh my goodness. So Dr. Zora, I'm gonna switch up the question and start with you. So there's women listening to our conversation today, and they may still have some doubts. Maybe they don't have the clarity. They're stuck in a little bit of fear, possibly. And I want to know what y'all would tell them. What advice would you give them for living those dreams?
Well, welcome to the club. You never totally get it, right? If somebody goes, "Oh, I've got it. I dealt with that." I'm like, no, you didn't. It doesn't. There's always these levels of learning and more awareness. So what did you ask me again? Now my brain's going about three different ways.
Give our listeners a little advice about how to get unstuck and go for their dreams.
And when you asked me that, following your dreams first related to what I just said, I wanted to make the point that it's okay when you don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's just what went out of my head, ironically. It's okay when there's times, and I actually put a poem I wrote in my story that the title is, it's funny you would bring this up. The title is I Don't Know. And I was sitting doing a meditation. I was looking outside the window and dealing with a lot of uncertainty, which we all do, and coming to a point of trust where I think my last line, I forget exactly what I said, but the idea that there comes a point where you can get quiet and listen in to where all is known and you don't need to know. And that for me is so important to remember, that there's times I say, I don't know, because that's when I let go and trust. And more like if I forgot and I'm trying to figure something, it's just like, I just have to listen and trust. I don't know. And that's what you were saying, Karen. That's when I'm maybe a little oil on the head and some of this it's like, okay. So I think it's really important that you're never going to know everything. All you can know as best you can is in that one present moment and in that feeling. And then there's the next present moment. And then there's the next one. And they all string together. And I also don't believe there's any really wrong choices. If you feel like, oh, but I felt like that was the right thing and you did it, may not have worked out like you thought, but it took you in another direction, or it taught you something else that you needed first before you do this other thing. And that's part of the trusting as well.
I love
that
it.
It's just and that you alluded to too is when you need to, by all means, keep in touch with others and allow them to support you. That's something I'm getting better at, where that people, you don't have to do it all yourself. Ask people for advice, for support, for help, just to listen to you, or just even to be quiet while they sit next to you. It depends on what you need at the time. And this is a time, again, on the planet that we're being forced to look at all this. And what keeps us sane, and we need each other. So that's the other thing. You don't need to do it all by yourself. Even though we talk about the answers are within, it doesn't mean you're singular. You're still a part of the whole. And that's where some of the beauty is as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Daniela, what's some advice you would give to those women listening who are really wanting to go after the big dream, but still maybe a little stuck in doubt or fear?
Yeah, so your desire is your destiny. I believe that every one of us, when we are born, we come with this, whether it is mission or love or something that really fires us up. And what happens then is that we are programmed or conditioned to not put weight on that, or focus on other things, or take care of other people first. And so we believe that everybody has this desire, and therefore who are we to have it? When in fact, there's a reason that you have this desire. Don't dismiss this desire, because everybody comes with a different desire that is perfect for them. So that is like, knowing this gives you permission to pursue your dream, what's inside you. So don't dismiss that. Don't think everybody else is having the same. This is yours. Go for it.
Yes, I'm writing stuff down. Honor the desire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. It took me a long time to figure that one out too. But it's like when you finally figure it out, there's no going back. It's like, yes, I can go for this just because I desire it, and it is good enough right there, Yeah.
And having other women receive that, being able to speak that out, even if it's choppy and not like formed right, and it's just an idea and it's just a seed, just saying that, like, even if it's very vague at the beginning, just saying it, you start owning it the more you talk about it.
Yeah, agreed. And when it's out loud, it's real. I tell a lot of women, writing is one step to that, but speaking things out loud is making them manifest. So first of all, you better be careful what you wish for, because as you're speaking things, you're speaking them into the world. But that's the first way, right, is to get that out loud. I love that. Karen, last but not least, what would your advice be for?
I love this conversation. This is so great. And absolutely, it is that desire that's in you, and it was created in you. And I mean, people keep looking outside for it, and it's right in you. It's like lighting you up, and you have to see it. And when you see it, it's part of the puzzle that's for the greater good of all humanity. And it all fits together like a puzzle. And for me, it starts when I start really getting in touch with it. It's an intention, and I can feel it. And it starts with the everyday, with the frankincense, let the goodness come. What's coming to me today, and receiving it, and then really getting in touch with it. And I lead writing workshops. When I do, I have people write Dear God letters, and God, you can define God any way that fits you. But when you start writing a Dear God letter, what do what does this look like? Or where is this going? Or what color is it? Or how many people are affected? Or what's the title of it? You start asking it. All of a sudden it starts coming to you, like faster than you can even write it down, it starts coming. And that's all because you're in touch with the intention and the lighting up desire. And so it's in every one of us, absolutely inside us. And when we see it, like Danielle, somebody saying it to somebody, having someone witness it, and helping spark the flame of it and water and feed it, it starts growing and expanding. And oh my gosh, we can change the world just with that. We can change the world just with that.
Yes, we can. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was like the perfect note to finish on. We are changing the world with these brave words today. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everyone today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, everyone.
And yes,
Bye,
it was a pleasure.
So listeners, you're going to want to join us on June 8th on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, for our live stream book launch party. We're going to have all of our authors there to share about their wisdom, a little bit about their chapters. We're going to have some pretty awesome giveaways for our book purchasers that day. So remember June 8th. And of course, if you're actually listening to this after the 8th, well, that means you can get your butt over to Amazon and grab the book, because it'll be ready by then. And for a little after hours connection with our authors, don't forget to join us in the Wholehearted Wonder Women 50 plus global community group on Facebook. I've got you hooked up in the show notes down there with that link, and you can come in and ask the authors questions about something that you read in their chapter and have these kinds of discussions with a really badass group of women. I think that's such an incredible benefit to being involved with this book. And lastly today, everybody, remember, you were born, so you are worthy. Your message matters. What if the thing you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It's time to be brave. See you next time, ladies.